Good morning. It's time for the North Carolina Vinyl Picker Show. And I want to say a happy Father's Day out there to all you fathers. Yeah, we're outside today. I figured it was going to be a beautiful day. The dogs are barking, but maybe we can talk over that and get into some stuff that I've been getting this week. So we're going to walk up to the table where I have everything laid out, and we'll start the show. What do you think about that? You can tell the dogs decided to bark this morning. I need to get out here and cut my grass later today. My memorial to my fellow shipmates. Maybe that big dog will be quiet for a few minutes, but I'm not betting on it. It's beautiful up here in North Carolina in the mountains. I'm back and I'm here. I'm a little bit short, but the scenery's nice behind me, isn't it? And it looks like I need a shave. But I don't yell and scream like a lot of the other channels. So we're just going to get through this. 2010 is what we're going to talk about today. What were you listening to in 2010? I want to go through what I picked up this week, what came in the mail. I got the big dog behind me. He won't shut up down the hill. But that's okay. We'll talk through this. And there's some bugs out here, but we're outside. We're outside. Get out of the house. It's nice to get out of the house. So this is what I picked up this week. And this is a band from the Netherlands. These guys are fantastic, and they're called Finch. And I have their other album in the house, and this is their second album. And then they have a third one, but I don't have it. It's Galleons of Passion. I think that's the name of that album, but I'm on the hunt for it. I'm going to try to find it. I got this one for 20 bucks. And this album goes for quite a bit more than that. It's an import. So if you want some good prog that you don't really know, you're tired of listening to King Crimson and Yes and Genesis, give Finch a try and see if you like them. This is an album here that I had on CD that I sold, and it's called Storm Corrosion. And what it is, it's Steven Wilson and Miguel Ackerfeld from Opeth. They made an album, and it's called Storm Corrosion. It's a fantastic record, and if you love Steven Wilson and you like Opeth, then this might be right up your alley. This is a Canadian band. I believe this is their second or their third album, and it doesn't have Nash the Slash because he was only on it for the first album, but this is called Surveillance. And now I'm looking for another album of theirs that I didn't even know existed. It's called Direct to Disc. So they made 4 albums back in the day in the 70s, and they're a progressive rock band from Canada. And they're pretty good. So I'm on the hunt for Direct to Disc. It's on my top 10 records I'm on the hunt for. I got it in my pocket. I might even tell you at the end here. Ian Matthews, if you saw Through My Eyes. Yeah, Ian Matthews is a folk singer. I think he was the original guitar player for Fairport Convention. And this is on the Swirl label, Vertigo. I'm all in on the Vertigo. And I really like this album. I probably should have bought a better pressing of it though, because it's a little sketchy. Tears for Fears, The Hurting. This is their first album, and it did not have this album. It's really good. It's like one of my top 10 bands from the 80s. And speaking of that, last week I messed up and I forgot to add Marillion in there. How could I forget Marillion? They would fall probably right in behind Kate Bush. So it'd be Kate Bush, Marillion, and then King Crimson, Yes, and Genesis below that. So then I went to the Hudson Corner Antique Mall with my wife, and we had a nice day, and we went over there, and then we got some lunch afterwards. But they're in Hudson, and it's an antique mall, and that's why it's probably called Hudson Antique Mall. But I picked up 3 albums while I was there, and I think I got all 3 of these for like $12. And it's 3 of the albums by Styx. I never really paid much attention to Styx. Of course, I heard it back in the day. I heard a lot of their tunes, but they're a second-tier prog band. So I'm going to do a show here soon. I'm going to show all the second-tier prog bands. And one time, my buddy John up in Jersey told me that Supertramp was a second-tier rock band. I remember that still to this day. And so they'll be included in that top 10, as well as Styx, Starcastle, Kansas. You know, there's a bunch of them. So I'm going to go ahead and do that ranking probably next Wednesday, this coming Wednesday. So stay tuned for that. I know everybody's on pins and needles. So Cornerstone by Styx. These were all $4 or $5 a piece. This is probably my favorite album of theirs. I like Pieces of 8. And Paradise Theater. And then there's a few others I want to pick up. I haven't got around to getting them yet. I looked at, there was a couple there that were pretty scratched up, so I didn't want to bother with them. So that's all I got this week. It was pretty light. It was kind of a light week. So going into my top 10. Now this is my top 10 of 2010. So what were you listening to in 2010? So the vinyl picker was still listening to new music. He was still listening to music, and he was still listening to some of his 80s stuff, mostly 70s stuff, and even a little bit of 60s stuff. But I wasn't into the grunge scene and post-punk and that kind of stuff. I wasn't into all that stuff. So coming in at number 10, now 4 of these I don't have, so just bear with me on this. Number 10 is the Porcupine Tree, and this album here is called Recordings, and it's extra tracks from Stupid Dream and Lightbulb Sun. And if you don't have this, if you want to be a Porcupine Tree Steven Wilson completist, then you need this record. So this is some of the songs that didn't make it to Stupid Dream or Lightbulb Sun, which is a kind of a favorite for a lot of the Porcupine Tree people out there. Coming in at number 9. Coming in at number 9 is Camel, and this is the opening farewell, and this is a live concert they did, and actually Andy Latimer signed it on the inside. Best wishes, and continued good health there, Andy. I hope you can release that new album soon. I don't know about touring, but he's been pretty sick over the years. Coming in at number 8 is a band which I don't have the record, but I remember listening to it, and I still stream it to this day. It's a band called Moon Safari, and they had an album called Brumade or Brumad or something like that. And then the album I'm thinking of in 2010 was called Lover's End. So that's the album I was listening to in 2010. And then in number 7 is a band called Soup, and these guys are fantastic. I think they're from Norway. And the album I'm thinking of in 2010 was Children of the ELB. And if you like prog, you like your prog like from Norway or Sweden, then you probably would love Soup. So check that band out. Coming in at number 6 is the concert that I seen in Orlando, Florida. And it was called, the band was called Porcupine Tree. That's right. And the Fear of a Blank Planet tour. And Anesthetize is the DVD/Blu-ray of that show. And I have a copy of this in my store for sale. Speaking of my store, if you're interested in buying some CDs or DVDs or whatever, there'll be a link down below to eBay. You can go there and buy whatever you need. But Porcupine Tree, Anesthetize, fantastic tour. I was like 6 feet from Steven Wilson's feet. I mean, I was right up front, close to it. There was a guy standing next to me. I think I've told this story before. and we were talking about prog bands in 2010, 2009, and I asked him if he ever heard of Riverside. He said no, but hopefully he listened to them because they're a fantastic band. But we're talking about Porcupine Tree, and this concert, I still remember it to this day. I was at work in Orlando, and I drove over there after work and went right over to the show. It was a couple hours early, but I waited around, changed in the bathroom. I remember changing, brought my clothes with me. I took off my work clothes and changed in the bathroom, and went over to the show. Coming in at number 5. Number 5 I don't have. I wish I did. I still stream it though. It's an album by Rick Wakeman and John Anderson called The Living Tree. And that album is fantastic as well. You can stream it on Apple Music or, probably pick up a CD somewhere. But it's after John Anderson got the boot from Yes, and they kicked him out of the band. And then he did a couple albums with Rick Wakeman. Coming in at number 4 is a fantastic band and a fantastic album. Anathema, I'm not sure how you say that. We're Here Because We're Here. And that's a great album. And then they did Weather Stations or something like that after that one. They did about 2 or 3 really great albums. And I don't own them, but you can stream those. And that's Anathema. They started off as a really rockin', like a black metal band or something like that. They were pretty hardcore. And then they morphed into a prog band. So Anathema. Coming in at number 3 is a reissue of Robert Wyatt's Rock Bottom. And I was fortunate enough to pick one of these up for about, I don't know, 15 bucks, 12 bucks, 13 bucks, something like that on eBay. Somebody was selling one. And Robert Wyatt, of course, from Soft Machine, and he played with David Gilmour and other people, and Matching Mole and some other bands. But Robert Wyatt's really talented, a keyboard player and multi-instrumentalist. That he fell out of a window and ended up being a paraplegic, and he's still alive. He's pretty old. But yeah, this is a great album. This is his first solo album, I believe. I could be wrong, but correct me if I'm wrong out there, people in YouTube land. Whew, coming down. There's only 2 left. Coming in at number 2. This is an album I had to go all the way to Fairbanks, Alaska to pick up. That's right. When I was up in Canada, when I was up in Alaska last summer at this time, last May actually, towards the end of May, I went to a thrift store in Fairbanks, and we only made 2 stops, and we went down to a jewelry store, and it was pretty desolate up there in Fairbanks. There wasn't a whole lot open, and there wasn't a whole lot too open. It seemed like there was more people on the street than they were working. It was pretty sad. We got down further into Canada. It was more. In Alaska, there was more people and more action going on, and more vendors and more people, and it was just a different vibe. Like when you get down towards the capital of Alaska, but Fairbanks was pretty bad up there, from what I saw, So anyway, speaking of the album, this is the one I found. I found it in a thrift store. They had a bunch of records there, and probably some that I left behind that I probably should have picked up. But I think I paid like $25 for this. And this is a Fridays on Music release of Made in Japan from Deep Purple. Sounds fantastic. It is just Fridays music. What was this doing all the way up in Fairbanks? Coming in at number 1. This is an album that my buddy John from the Navy, he used to tell me about and really liked. And we used to listen to it a lot. Emotion and Commotion. Jeff Beck, that's right, Jeff Beck. It's a great album. It's a later album of his from 2010. And if you haven't heard this album, this is something you might want to give a listen to. You could stream it, or you can buy a CD. And so there you go. That's all I got for you this week. Made it pretty short and sweet. Like I say, I'm out here in the woods, and actually I'm on my property, 3.5 acres. So there's quite a bit here to explore. So everybody have a great rest of your day out there, and happy Father's Day to all you fathers. And I hope you as lucky as I am. I have a wonderful daughter and son, and so take care out there. I ain't gonna ramble on anymore. Do the old goat, And take care. We'll see you soon. See you Wednesday. And we're going to do that special show. Bye for now. Here we are at the country store, corner store, looking at the dollar records. I'm going to add this into my show this week. Maybe I can find something. Chances are slim. Montavani, Fifth Dimension, Captain and Tennille, Wayne Newton. Same old, same old. You never know when you're going to hit a huge deal. That's a great album. Don't sleep on the well, I'm going to keep on looking.